One. Hello and welcome back to the Skip Review podcast episode 179. We're going live with this bad boy today. We got Dan, Hagen, Mikey. How we doing, boys?
Good. Can't complain.
Doing good
Dan's like,
after
I'm just
a
here.
big Mets win today.
Yeah, great game tonight.
Anytime the Mets put up 19
Yeah.
runs, you're not going to be upset.
Honestly, I have the Mets as the third talking point here in the hot corner, but let's just talk about them first. 20-9 on the year. Mikey, are they the best team in baseball? I know record-wise they are, but are they the best team?
People say we do have the best record right now, but we also have the best record since June 1st of last year still. Like to this day, since June 1st, we still have the best record in the MLB.
I did not know that. That's a really cool stat. The right now run differential is plus 50. It's the best in baseball. Optimism, pessimism for the long-term view on this. And we obviously know it's April 28th as we're recording. Dan, I know you're a massive Mets guy. I know Hagen, you are too, but Dan, let's hear your take on Mets. What are you optimistic for the rest of the season versus pessimistic? And Hagen, I want to hear your point as well on this.
Yeah, I think optimism clearly is right through this team. Best in baseball, the run differential, all the stats will tell you that the Mets are the best team, but there is some pessimism too. Like Soto, and it's a scary thought too. Soto's not off to a great start for the Mets, but they're also a 20-game winner now, 21. Like it's crazy to think that they are now the best team, and Soto's not even a big part of that. So that's really where the craziness comes from. How good could this team really be?
Yeah. Hagen, what are your thoughts on the Mets? I know obviously you're a big Mets fan as well.
This team is not clicking in the right ways I would expect it to be. I mean, if you just look at, in terms of WRC plus, the Mets are the 16th best offense in all of baseball this year, the 99 WRC plus, and I think a lot of people kind of pencil them in for a top 5 offensive baseball, and I think they'll eventually get to that point throughout the course of the season. But I don't think anyone expected the Mets to have a 2.4, whatever it is, ERA as a staff. I mean, they're almost a full run better than any other team in baseball. So I think you can be optimistic about the offense heating up and getting more where you think they would end up, but also there's going to be some regression with this pitching staff. You're not going to be able to keep a 2.4 ERA the entire season.
Yeah,
I agree. They're hot. In my opinion, New York guy, but I'm a Yankees fan. Mets, they have an owner willing to spend and willing to trade, willing to make moves, both administrative wise too, with the coaching staff. If anything is not going well, I don't think Uncle Stevie's afraid of making cuts to a hitting coach all the way up to the GM if he wanted to, just to get a Mets World Series. He's a competitor, and it's clearly shown. And I think that's my optimistic view for the Mets. Like they're playing great, and I feel every April the Mets. They always play great in April, and depending on the year, they either have a great year or they just have a complete, they kind of landslide slowly down. No offense, but I think this Mets team is for real. I really do. I got to go to the Nationals Mets game this weekend with Dean, so that was super exciting. It was a rain delay, actually two, one before game, one in the first inning. And Soto obviously didn't do his thing, but the Mets still won because they put out a shutout, 2-0. They shut the Nationals out at home. I know they came off a 6-game, they let up 6 runs to lose yesterday. But the Mets, I just got that feeling. And then Francisco Alvarez had a really nice opposite field home run. And the wind was blowing for him, but still very impressive. So love to see that from the Mets. Anything else we want to talk Mets related before we hop to our next topic here that has been posted?
Real quick, if I may, too, just Nimmo today had an unbelievable game. 9 RBIs. The last Met player to do that was Carlos Delgado against your Yankees back in 2008, I think. Just crazy. Big day for him. His OPS jumped 103 points in one day. It's the crazy thing. It's crazy. Good game for Brandon Nimmo.
Dude, and that's the nice thing about the Mets. Like, I feel like even like people, and correct me if I'm wrong, Starling Marte, he's not having a great year, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. He's still a guy that can totally turn things around. I think he could. Like, I'm not saying he's going to, but it's not like, would that be the most surprising thing in the world if Starling Marte, a proven MLB player, goes off and has a really nice June and July or something like that? Absolutely not. And I think that's the great thing about the Mets. They have depth throughout the lineup now where like random guys can go off at different times.
And
But
I think you're right about the depth too, because Starling Marte is a bench bat on this team where besides Jose Azocar, Marte is the first guy off this roster, and it's a question of if he'll even finish on the Mets this season or if they'll cut him or try to trade him.
Yeah, the depth is huge for this team, especially on the pitching side. Like if a guy goes down in the bullpen, I know a lot of people are not really happy with it after yesterday's loss. But like there's guys that we could pluck from AAA or even AA as the season goes on. Guys that are starting in AA right now. Trey McLaughlin is a guy that was pretty hot in Met circles from spring training from a really weird delivery who's never been bad at any level. It's just taken a long time for him. Like guys like that, or all the 75 minor league deals we gave out in the offseason to relievers like Ghost, Genesis Cabrera, Rico Garcia. Brandon Waddell was a candidate to get called up over Jose Urena. There's so many guys they could go to. And then even on the offensive side, like Joey Meneses is raking in AAA at 30 or 31 years old. It's kind of crazy like how much depth that's not awful that like we really could like get contributions from. And then even like the guys that are not doing well right now, like the regression to the mean is very like probable. Like the guys that are struggling like aren't struggling. They're awful. Like Marte's not going to be like I don't really use batting average or pay attention to it anymore. But like is Marte going to be like a 190 hitter or worse like for the rest of the year? No, probably not. Like there's just so many guys that are like going to rise up to get better progressively throughout the season. And then yeah, obviously like Pete Alonso's not going to like hit every ball 113 miles an hour for the whole season either. But like their regression to the mean is going to be fine or stay as good as they are.
And real quick, just to add on to what you just said, there, OC, two pitchers didn't even mention at all is Daniel Nunez, who was a big piece for the Mets bullpen last year and was a setup guy for them down the stretch. I mean, he became kind of that eighth inning guy for him last year. He's ready, just waiting in AAA for whenever the Mets really need him, probably here in the next week or so. And then Brooks Raley, who's going to be back, I think they said June when they expect him to start in rehab games. So down the stretch, you're getting another valuable lefty in that pen.
Yeah. With Danny Young out of options, it's that question of how many lefties do you get at the end of the season? I think 2 for the playoffs. I don't know if you guys disagree or agree, but that seems to be the sweet spot if you have 2 lefties. But yeah, I don't know. I would expect Raley would be 1. And then Minter, who went down with the lat for 15 days, he shouldn't be too bad of an injury. But yeah, decisions.
I was talking to Hagen earlier today, and if like everyone stays healthy, the crazy part is if everyone stays healthy by the time Minaya and Montas come back, we'll have 7 like legit starting pitchers, and we'll only like really be able to run a 6-man rotation. And you'd think like someone that doesn't pay attention to the Mets would be like kick Canning to the bullpen or kick McGill to the bullpen. Like those are arguably our 2 best starters. Like Senga's like the whole staff's been amazing, but like you're not just gonna throw Canning or McGill to the bullpen the way they're pitching right now. Like it really might be Peterson, honestly. If everyone's healthy, like it might be Peterson to get another lefty in the bullpen. He might be like our 5th best performing starting pitcher right now. Or maybe Clay Holmes is. Clay Holmes, I looked at it today. The most pitches he's thrown in a single season since like 2021 is like 1,124. And he's already at just over 500 pitches for this season. So like he might go to the bullpen. Something I talked about a lot in the offseason is let him go to the bullpen, let him rest his arm, let him just like be a good setup guy for us in high leverage. And then we'll like move him back into the bullpen via or rotation through injury or when the postseason comes along and we need longer innings out of guys. Like it's kind of like crazy like what kind of a problem they have. And we know like based off of how Stearns has operated, like they won't trade one of those guys. They'll find a role for them because we need the depth because 2 weeks before spring training ends, like Montas, Minaya, and Blackburn are all in the IL. So like they won't trade anyone, but they'll figure out how to use them, which is crazy. And that's why they get paid what they get paid.
Yeah. And well said, guys. I think that's a good point and a good kind of transition for us to the next topic here. We got to talk about the Dodgers rotation, right? The Dodgers rotation, Glass now hits the IL, right shoulder inflammation. So this is no bueno in the way, for Los Angeles. The rotation as of right now looks like Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who's been excellent, Roki Sasaki, Dustin May, and then that's kind of it. Snell's on the IL. Tyler Glasnow is now on the IL. Gonsolin looks like he's coming back next week. Kershaw, I know, has been rehabbing and he's getting ready to ramp up. Getting ready to get brought back up here. What are our thoughts on LA? Are they in serious trouble? They're losing their depth, and that was the big thing for them last year in terms of IL.
I'm not worried about the Dodgers at all because I think I said it last episode is Dave Roberts has said multiple times that they pretty much know they're going to be in the playoffs. I mean, it's almost a guarantee at this point. So it just get these guys ready for the postseason because that's what really matters for this team. Obviously, seeding matters, but they've kind of gotten screwed earlier in the past where one seed they get to buy and then they don't pick it up play good. Besides, they saw a difference last year though, but I'm not too worried about them. I think it was kind of going into the year, it was like, do you really need 10 starting pitchers? And now the depth's really getting put to the test. I mean, last year they had, I think, 20 different guys started. It was some crazy amount of guys pitched games for them last year, made starts for them. So I'm not too worried about them at all. And with this offense they have too, it's not like you need to have a crazy good pitching staff. I mean, you could throw guys out there, and even if they give up 4 runs a game, you can still win a lot of those ball games.
Yeah. No.
I mean, yeah, they literally had like 10 guys, 10 quality arms that could start games for them when the season started. And they still have, what is it, like 8?
No, they don't have that. You know what I mean, though? Their numbers are down. Dan,
Yeah, for
No,
sure.
I agree.
And that was before Sasaki, so it's 11.
I'm concerned about Glasnow, if we're being honest, just specifically him, because Tommy John in the past and just now the UCL, I don't know, it's concerning. I think, like Hagen's point, though, the Dodgers are just too good. You know, they have this depth that they're clearly utilizing, and I think they'll be fine. I don't, maybe they don't win the division. That might be something that we look at and say, look at the Giants, look at the Padres, how they're doing. But they'll be a playoff team, and they'll be fully healthy probably by the time playoffs come around anyway. So I think they'll be fine.
But even if they're not, they ran 3-man rotation like through the NLCS and the World Series and still won. Like kind of easily, but they have like Ben Kasparius has been on the roster all year for them. He'll probably just start getting more starts. They've got 4 like legit arms in AAA that could come start for them. Well, I don't know what's happening with Bobby Miller. He's like not good anymore. Like Knack, Wroblewski, and Freso could easily come up and just like start being really good.
I mean, even last year, like you said, like they won pretty easily, I guess you could say, and they won the World Series last year. There are 3 starters they had. Yamamoto wasn't even 100% at the time, 100% built up. That means Flaherty was hit or miss. I mean, he was awful or he was really good. There was no really in between.
They were throwing bullpen.
You didn't know what you were getting. Exactly.
What were you going to say, Dan?
Well, they throw bullpen games too. How many teams could really do that? I don't think the Mets really could. If we wanted to, I mean, maybe one game, but it's crazy.
Even now,
maybe
game.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm just pessimistic for the Yankees and worrying about them. But yeah, the Dodgers, they definitely have they definitely have been dealt a few blows here early in April. That's needless to say, though. Last thing I want to talk about, Fernando Tatis Jr. We gotta address this. So the guy has a couple motorcycle accidents, PED suspension for 80 games. He's now back. And when I say back, like he's been back for a little bit, but I mean, is he a top 5 player in all of baseball?
I think if he's playing like this, you can't deny it. It's just more, can he keep this? And I think it was a big discussion in the offseason too, is Tatis overrated? That was kind of a narrative that I saw going around there a lot, which I thought, no, he wasn't, but he was. A lot of people were rating him pretty high. I mean, even for the fantasy aspect, he was a very, very high draft pick for a dude who historically hasn't stayed healthy much. I think talent-wise, you could say if he keeps this up, which obviously it's going to be hard to keep any player to keep this up, it's going to be hard, but if he keeps doing this, he's going to be a top 5 player in baseball. But the thing for him is he's got to stay healthy for a full 162 because he really hasn't shown that at all.
The other thing, too, is like that overrated talk got so loud. We were even having conversations in the group chat about, is he actually now one of the more underrated players in the game? Like it was unbelievable, like how much like Tatis like negativity that I was seeing in this offseason, like as the calendar turned over. It was like, my God, like this dude's a premier player. Like whether he's healthy or not, like he's one of the best players in the game. And I was like, people are just like kind of forgetting that, it seems like. And I'm glad that I think baseball is better when he is at the top. He's such a fun, electrifying player. So I love it. And I think he is one of the best players. Top 5,
Yeah.
top 10, whatever you want to say. But right now, he's unbelievable. He's unstoppable.
He's doing it with the defense too. I mean, he has a cannon in the outfield, and that was getting him to the outfield was a tough transition to go from the infield, and he's done it seamlessly. And all the injuries that the Padres are dealing with too, with Arias and all this stuff, like there's definitely a need for a guy like Tatis to carry the Padres right now, and that's what he's doing. Top 5 in baseball, I think there's a real case for that. Yeah, I'd probably lean more top 10, but he's definitely up there.
I need to pick your brain one day, Dan, on your top 10. Figure out who that
Yeah,
is.
Trout's been amazing too, but it depends. Like, do you rely on past success in a top 10? Because like we know that Mike Trout can get it going if he starts getting it going, but Tatis, it's like still so young, had all those the injuries and the extracurricular stuff. So I don't know, but yeah, probably up there.
Yeah, this year, 104 at bats, 36 hits, 8 bombs, batting almost 350. He's also stolen 7 bags. OBP right now is a 415, and he's already accumulated 2.2 WAR through the month of April. So he's off to a fantastic start. Want to talk? We'll jump to we'll go through the American and National League here, just like the big news, what's gone on the last 3 days with these teams. So, Yankees, we got to start big news. Devin Williams gets demoted from the closer role. I'll start with this one just because I'm not right now the only Yankees fan on the pod. I'm not too concerned. It is, concerning, but Devin Williams has proven year over year. To answer your question about top 10, like, what do we consider? I know that the relievers have probably the most volatile, like, up and down seasons out of any position in baseball. Devin Williams, he came back today, had a 1-2-3 inning in the 8th versus Baltimore in a loss. But I think that he just needs to get reset. Are you guys at all concerned long term about Devin Williams for the season?
I see what Luke Weaver does.
No, I honestly thought it was a joke.
I don't know.
Luke Weaver's been nice.
I can't wait till he's a free agent.
He's still rocking a 0 ERA, right?
Yeah, I think they're 12. I don't know how he did. I don't know if he went off today. I missed the 9th inning. I just saw they lost the inning. He's 4-3. But if he pitched today, I'm assuming he didn't give up a run because that was already the score. But he had 12 appearances, 0 ERA. I put him in my blog earlier today as a guy to highlight. Yeah, Evan Williams definitely. It is he was one of the big offseason additions to this team, and it's now only been a month and 11.25 ERA. A little scary. Let's re-huddle and discuss this in a month and see how it goes. Well, I have this Jarren Duran here twice this weekend. We both know there's 2 big things that happened with Jarren Duran this weekend. One was he stole home for the 3rd time in his career. That's awesome. I don't know how to, we got to talk about what happened with the fan in the incident. So are you all 3 of you aware of what was said to Jarren Duran and what the subject matter was?
Was there like an actual like quote of like verbatim of what was said to him? I know like what happened. I don't know if there was like if it was publicly released what was actually said to him.
I believe the quote was "Go blanking, kill yourself."
Yeah, dude, like that's actually ridiculous. Like
It's crazy.
I don't understand like I really can't understand like the mentality of saying that to someone that like actually struggled with that. Like it's like I just laughed just now, but it's like seriously like unfathomable to me. Like it sounds like a joke, really. Like someone actually did that. Like it's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, it made me very upset because obviously we already know what Jarren Duran's dealt with the stuff in the past, and he was very vocal about it, which is, I mean, it's hard to do that and be vocal about stuff like that and the struggles you're having. But then to go after a guy because of his past but then also just someone in general too. I mean, these guys aren't zoo animals. These guys are these human beings with emotions. Like, these guys are players. Like, you don't say that to anybody in general, but over a baseball game, like, I hope this band gets banned for life, and I hope he doesn't ever go to another baseball game again.
I agree. There's no place for that in
Yeah,
sports. especially like OC's point, a guy that was in the action of, and it's just crazy to think that people would, and we see it on Twitter all the time, but Twitter's not an accurate representation of society, but to see that in real life and transpire, and he's going at the guy, like, it's just, sports are meant to be fun.
Yeah, it's not like some like keyboard warrior thing, like hiding behind like a computer screen. Like, no, that was like you said that face to face to a human. Like Hagen said, like it's hard enough to like come out and speak about those things. Like when you're not like famous, when you're not in front of reporters day in and day out, when you're not making millions of dollars and like entertaining people all the time. Like he's not, but like sports is an entertainment business with the publicity it gets. Like the for him to have come out and spoken about that and like allowed it to be part of a documentary and allow it to really be highlighted to help other people, like it's incredibly brave. And like the courage he had to do, like I'm sure it must have taken him probably months if not longer, like of thinking about whether he was like comfortable publicly speaking about that. And like to get that like response from one person, yeah, like there's bad apples and like you can't make everyone happy, but like to for someone to actually go do that is really ridiculous. And like like I'm glad like nothing happened. Like I know like everyone kind of wishes he was able to do what he probably wanted to do to the guy and like square off or whatever, but like it's good that they didn't let that happen because it probably would have just like ruined the whole message in the first place. But I was like, wow, they're holding him back. Like just let him go, man. Like it's crazy. Like I really hope
Yeah,
that person should get banned indefinitely, forever, lifetime, whatever, after lifetime. Like it's crazy. There's no good for it.
I think
Like
the reason, we
you
both
can't go to
scoff
the
at
game.
this. I think the reason we both scoff at this is because it's such a joke that this is happening.
100%.
It's just such a joke. We'll move on though. I want to talk on a more positive note. The Detroit Tigers, they sweep a doubleheader this weekend, and now they have the best home start in 114 years. They're 13-3 at home this year. They're 8-2 overall in their last 10 games. Dan, is Detroit for real?
I think so. Last year postseason team experience, and now you're getting Baez too in the mix, who's sparking that offense. Skubal's an ace. He's top 5 pitcher in the league type thing. I mean, this is a really good team, and you're sweeping an Orioles team too that I thought they would be better up to this point. I don't know what's wrong with guys like Gunnar and stuff like that, but I really like what the Tigers are doing, and I expect them to be a playoff team again. They'll probably win the Central, and maybe they're facing the Yankees again, and who knows, or almost facing the Yankees. Maybe they match up with them this year, but it could be something to think about.
Yeah,
Hagen,
they
are you
all
big?
love them.
Love them.
It's hard not to like the
Yeah.
Tigers. Hagen, are you in on Detroit?
I admittedly don't follow the Central teams too much, so I don't have too strong of an opinion on Detroit. I don't think I've watched a single Tigers game all year. I just know the numbers, but I do think it's impressive for what they've done so far, especially when Glaber, their big offseason acquisition, wasn't really. I mean, he missed 15 days or so. Jake Rogers, the starting catcher, has been out. Matt Vierling's been out. Manuel Margot's been out. Yet they've had a lot of injuries on this team, and even too, Kerry Carpenter hasn't really gotten, or sorry, Riley Green. He's still like 20% below league average as a hitter right now. He's the best player, and he's not even clicking for him, and they're playing amazing.
He did have a
Or
big catch
coming
this
back,
weekend. You guys
coming
see
back
that?
major for them. Just getting right and really leading the heart of that order.
Torkelson too. I mean, he's been 8 home runs. Great stuff. 929 OPS.
Yeah. We'll after that, Central's kind of boring. Hagen, I'm kind of with you on that. I don't really tune into the Central all that much. Let's talk about the West real quick. Let's talk about Seattle. We'll mention the injury to Logan Gilbert in a little. Actually, we can talk about it right now. Logan Gilbert is down for the count. He hits the 15-day IL for the first time in his career. Forearm tightness. Mikey, 1 to 10. How concerning is this for Seattle?
I thought I heard they're not too concerned. It sucks because they are running realistically like a confident 4-man rotation at the time, and they really struggle with depth. So I think I'm kind of concerned in the short term more than anything. The fact that I'm guaranteed to lose 3 Logan Gilbert starts at least, and don't really know who's going to be taking those innings, taking those starts, and if we're going to get anything close to even like decent production in that area, going from our ace Cy Young contender, like who a lot of people, including myself, had as an AL Cy Young finalist, to quite possibly someone most people have never heard of for at least 3 starts. So that's kind of what I'm concerned about. I don't really know what their standings are looking like 100%, but that's a division where, like, I know people joke about with like the Mets and the Phillies and the Braves, like every game counts, but I feel like that's a division where every game actually counts, because like that's the division I think where only one team makes it to the postseason. So you have to win that one. And they are
Yeah,
winning. They are leading the division right now, but like I feel like I know Corey Seager's hurt right now, and Marcus Semien has not been Marcus Semien, which is pissing me off for my war team. But like they're 15-13, one game behind them, and their top 2 guys aren't hitting. I don't know. DeGrom like has kind of been scuffling a little bit. Like you'd expect DeGrom to start getting into form later in the year. Like I don't even know what's happening with the Astros. I haven't looked at them at all recently, but like those teams can just get going at any point, and you can't be losing your ace and not have anyone to like go to at any point in the season if you're the Mariners, in my opinion.
I asked Mikey 1 to 10. I think we got everything besides that about the American League West.
Sorry.
Hagen, Dan, either one of you guys, are you too concerned about Logan right now, or did Mikey kind of nail it on the head right there?
I don't know what else to add on top of what Mikey just put on there. I think you got everything pretty well right there.
Yeah,
It took me that long to figure out my answer.
I'm not concerned with Seattle. Like their pitching is their calling card, and it's tough to hit in Seattle too. But Jorge Polanco is having a great season. They got a great start yesterday from Logan Evans, who got called up. So I think they're trying to work through everything. But overall, I'm not too concerned. But it is concerning for a team that prides themselves on pitching. And if the offense goes dry, then who are the Seattle Mariners at that point? So we'll see. I'm not too worried though.
And you did bring up Jorge Polanco, who I put here on the agenda. It was kind of my apology to him because there was multiple times I was kind of shitting on the Mariners off season and saying, "Oh, you're gonna go sign somebody," and Jorge Polanco is the one you sign. I was clowning him a little bit, and in the 20 games he's played so far, guys that have the same amount of plate appearances as him, he has a 233 WRC plus, which is second in the league, hitting 377 second in the league. Both those are only behind Aaron Judge. And he's got a 1.1 F4, which is 24th in all Major League Baseball. So this is just my apology to Jorge Polanco, who I kind of wrote off, made fun of Seattle for going after it, and he's been way better than I ever would have imagined.
Takes a true man to own up to that. No, we all make our calls in baseball, and baseball's a weird sport. They never, I still haven't had a hot prediction or our hot take episode from last year. I want to do it because it's going to be like all the the bad takes. I bet you 1 in every 10 is like correct from Sam, Dean, and I last season, just calling like who people are going to sign and where, for how much money and so on and so forth. But we'll jump to the National League. The East, we already mentioned the Mets being the best team in baseball here. I want to ask you guys, I've never heard of this guy, Ramon Gomez. Hits 104.5 miles an hour in the radar gun. Fastest pitch recorded in 2025. Is this guy going to be called up to the majors at some point? And will he be a difference maker for the Mets?
I don't think this year. Next year, absolutely. Only given because he's in single A. I can't imagine him shooting up to triple A. I mean, double A will probably be his cap. And then next year, the double A to triple A. But if you're throwing 104.5, we love baseball here. That does not grow on trees. Keep that, in-house if you're the Mets. That'd be a great weapon out of the pen potentially next year. That'd be awesome.
I like today, Gary Cohen said on the broadcast, they were talking about this, and he said there's 2 spots for this guy. It's on the Major League roster or on the injured list.
Yeah.
That's
true.
That's a unique response. I kind of like that.
Yeah, we don't want to hear that one.
You know what I mean, though. I like it in the sense of where it's like this guy should be at the majors with a 104.5 mile an hour fastball. So if he's not there, he should be, what do we call it? Ghost IL spot, I guess. Atlanta, 7-3 in their last 10. Is Atlanta back?
Yeah.
Quiet Met fans, everyone just quietly shaking their head.
Yeah. Atlanta's back, and they don't even have Ronald Acuna Jr. back, and they only got one start out of Spencer Strider. I mean, if you look, their lineups every day, I laugh to myself just as a Mets fan. I look at their lineup, and I look at the 6 through 9, and I'm like, that's a AAA lineup, 6 through 9. But they're playing hot right now. They're playing well. And Matt Olson's starting to heat up. Austin Riley's picked it back up. A lot of those guys are starting to play well for them again, even when they've already lost Fernando Lopez for the year. Jerkson Profile, their offseason addition, they've lost. Cunha's be back here in the next month or so. Strider will be back in two more times to the rotation and get him back. There's no breathing room in this division if you're the Mets. You got the Phillies and the Braves right on your ass.
Absolutely.
If they win tonight, they're going to be 2 games behind the Phillies. And they just started a series against the Rockies. They're winning 6-3 right now.
They're a good team. Very good team.
I'm sure Ben and Jeb are super excited right now with Atlanta.
They're scary.
We'll jump from the East, though. What were you going to say?
No, they're just scary. It's just like the last team. Like Philly doesn't scare you as a Mets fan, but Atlanta definitely does.
Yeah.
Truist Park,
definitely.
You don't want to play there.
It's funny you say that because Dean asked one of our best friends. His name is Pat, and he's a massive Mets fan. Pretty much the reason why we went to a Mets Nationals game of all games this weekend. And he asked him, "Who do you think is the worst Mets killer of all time?" All 3 of you. Who do you guys think is the biggest Mets killer? And I'll tell you if you match Pat's answer.
Chipper Jones.
Freddie Freeman?
Did you say Chipper Jones?
I feel like the top 3 are like Chipper, Freddie, and Chase Utley.
So Pat's answer right away was Chipper. And I was like, funny, brave, it's exactly what you said, Dan. And you don't fear the Phillies, you fear Atlanta.
Jason Worth, he wasn't a Brave, but he also used to kill us too. But yeah, Freddie, all the Braves, right? Freeman and Chipper and man.
Worth was on 2 of those teams.
Worth, right.
Phillies and Nationals.
It's crazy.
Dude just wanted to play against the Mets.
Yeah, literally.
He had that quote where he was like, "No, I don't respect anyone that is a Mets fan."
Yeah, that was like 2 days ago, too.
Yeah, he's like, if you're from New York, you have 2 choices. The right one. It basically says the right one and the wrong one. I don't respect whoever chooses the wrong one. It's like, dang, dude.
Crazy. Dude, I'd be
Let's follow our dad.
I didn't know he was like that on the Mets. That's pretty funny.
I didn't either. He hates the Mets.
Jeez. Like John.
Did
I
they
can't
like
wait to
have it?
sign Garrett Stubbs, too. We'll sign him one day. David Stearns will do it. And that'll be awesome.
We'll jump to the Central. I didn't put this in the agenda. Real quick tidbit. Brandon Woodruff made his 3rd minor league start. Looks like he's set up to make his 4th in 2 days from now on the 30th. I think that they expect him to be back pretty soon. I'm really excited on that front. Milwaukee still chipping away as they are currently in the middle of that NL Central right now. Just 3 games back from the Cubs, but they get some reinforcements. Milwaukee can be, kind of dangerous. But I do want to talk, and I'm not sure, maybe Mikey, this might be best suited for you. Matt Gorski, last homer in his first career at bat, and he's spent the last 4 years in AAA. Is Matt Gorski going to be a difference maker for Pittsburgh?
They had that guy, what was his name? Was it Drew Nagy or something? A few years ago, he was like the 33-year-old rookie. Matt Gorski's a lot younger than that. But you never know. Things can click for guys. Sometimes you just need a new voice, something different, and things can work. I think if I remember correctly from his profile, he's like a power over hit kind of guy. So who knows? If he can hit enough, the raw power is there. If that's all true, could he make an impact? Maybe he's like an unsung hero type of guy, a guy you don't really want up in the 8th and 9th inning, but ends up that way, and he comes through in the clutch. Who knows? I mean, those are guys like that are the reason why I hate like the golden at bat rule. Like it just like takes away the variance of baseball. Like those are the guys that come up when like it matters most. You're not going to have Mike Trout every time. And when those guys come through, that's what makes this game great. So I hope so. Do I think so? I mean, I'm not going to say yes or no. Like, why not, right? Anyone could eventually do it. The Pirates, they've struggled with hitters. I don't know. I don't really know them that.
I figured out of the three guys here, you'd probably be the most prospect, not ball knower here. Maybe Dan with the Mets
He's
prospects,
got
but
back years with 20 home runs in the
He got me
minors.
beat.
I don't know.
Well, yeah.
He's got back-to-back years with 20 home runs in the minors. If something clicks enough where he can make enough contact, why not?
absolutely. Hagen. Let's talk about Hunter Brown. Pitching standout this week. 18 Ks, 2 wins, 13 innings. He had 2 quality starts as well. Is Hunter Brown emerging as a top 15 overall pitcher in baseball?
I would say so, yeah. I was very high on him going into this season. You know, I think people kind of call him that baby Verlander type just because of the mechanics. And if you compare the side by side, I know pitching had just done that, it looks very similar. But I mean, all his peripherals look great, and I think he looked really good, especially in the second half of last year. He picked it up very well, and after he started off pretty rough, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, he's had 21, 24 straight scoreless innings. I mean, he has an electric fastball. This is a guy that can lead that front of the Houston rotation, especially if it's Framber's not back next year. This is looking like this is going to be their ace for foreseeable future.
Mets saw him early on.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, I cut you
No,
off.
you're good. Mets saw him, I think, second game of the year, Hunter Brown, right? And he looked great.
Yeah. I think he's gross. I've taken him in a couple fantasy leagues. Hitting standout from this week. I think we got to talk about PCA. You know, really stepping up for the Chicago Cubs. Dan, is this PCA breakout for real?
I think so. I think Mets fans could answer that too. I mean, we've been waiting for PCA to break out for a long time. You see what he's doing this year: 421 batting average, 1263 OPS. He is just everything that we expected him to be, and then some. Like, we always knew he had the speed, but then trading him for Baez never really sat right with anybody, and it's not going to sit right with anybody now. He's really blossoming, and I think it is for real. Scary. Definitely scary. The Cubs are good.
Anyone else want to comment on PCA before we jump next subject?
It's just painful. It's painful.
I just
But
think,
go ahead, Hagen.
I was going to say, just watching Pete Armstrong, the thing, obviously, his offense is picked up. We've already all known his defense is phenomenal, but just watching his defenses, I don't know if I've seen a center fielder look that good before. Like, obviously, metrics wise, maybe not the best center fielder ever. The way, just visually watching that dude track down a fly ball, just how easy he gets the balls in the gap, it's insane. I mean, Dallas Braden, the Oakland A's announcer, he said he's watched baseball for 40 years. So my eyes are trained to know if a ball's hit at a certain velocity in a gap or a certain spot, I know if it's going to be hit or not. He's like, he just camps under these balls. It's ridiculous watching him. I advise everyone to go look up just some of his highlights, just how easy he moves like a gazelle out there. It's really special watching him out there in the field.
Yeah, he floats. It's just like he's so good defensively. It's like over a course of a full season, like even if he's bad offensively, like he's still gonna run like a 2 WAR or a 2.5 WAR. He's that good defensively at a premier position. It's like he's just so fun, and he doesn't even like. I think like once he like really gets going, and he's not 23 in the MLB, like he'll be a guy that doesn't strike out a ton either, and he'll be putting the ball in play. Like it just feels like the worst that happens with him is like that meme where it's like nothing stronger than the bond between like a boy and the mediocre baseball player he loved growing up. Like Pete Armstrong, even when if he's not good, is the type of player that like kids watch and want to like decide to play baseball because of. He's just electric. He just makes the game fun. He's so talented in so many ways, whether he's playing well or not. And it's just like unbelievable. And like being a Met fan sucks.
40 games of Javier Baez.
That I like once Dan said that, I had to go. I went straight to Javier Baez's baseball reference page. I was like, dude, I totally forgot he was a Met. So I was like, when did the Mets have PCA? I just thought he was like a Cubs prospect. Yeah, That does sting. Sorry for you boys. I didn't even mean to inflict that much pain on you to talk about that. It's a Mets trade.
The PCA thing is one of those. I don't have this with many things, but the PCA trade is one of those moments as a Mets fan where, like, for a long time, I'll remember exactly what I was doing and where I was when I saw that tweet.
What were you doing?
I was
We gotta ask now.
mowing the lawn, and I got a notification on like deadline day, and I was like, Mets trade for Javier Baez. So I was like, all right. And then I was like, but who'd we give up? And then the next week's like, Pete Cronin. I screamed. I was like, I'm mowing the lawn. There's no one around. I just screamed at the top of my lungs. I was so mad. I don't think I'll ever forget that. It's like a core memory that's like traumatizing, like negative core memory for me. It's just like knowing that happened. And I was like, it's over. Like, it was pointless.
The funny part too is Baez was pretty solid with the Mets too. I think he had around like a 850 OPS, and the Mets missed the playoffs. And then at the time, Baez was still a good player, and they didn't re-sign him. So then it was like, so we just gave away a top 10 prospect in baseball for 40 games of Javier Baez. I mean, luckily we didn't sign him because picking up this year, but he's been one of the worst players the last few years. But
a trade is bad when your owner is tweeting like, well, the trade's good now. Like, Javier Baez is an 830. No, Steve, that's not how it works, bro. If you're doing that, it went wrong somewhere along the line, bro. Not a good look.
Well, we'll jump real quick to the standings, and we can start actually here. Let me just pull them up real quick. This is MLB.com. We'll start with the Central. So, Cubs are leading the Central. Anything big here in the Central you guys want to call out, or is this pretty standard of how we thought this was going to play out? Give or take the Brewers dealing with some pitching woes to begin the season.
My Reds are good.
Reds, yeah, the Pirates are awful.
I was not and am not high on the Reds. Brady Singer's annoyingly good because of the things I said in the offseason.
Dude, I don't think
waiting for the regression to the mean, and I'm waiting for the home runs, and I do believe they will happen.
Well, it is Cincinnati, so it's an easy stadium to do it at. I don't think there's any bigger Brady Singer fan than Dean. For random reason, he's the biggest Brady Singer fan. Well, we got to talk about the West here. And this conversation, I think, can take a couple minutes here. You got the Giants, who are 19-10. Rangers 18-10. And the Padres are right behind them, a game and a half back from first. And that's not to mention, we obviously Arizona just lost a killer this weekend with Eugenio Suarez hitting 4 bombs, and and they still find a way to lose. How do we think the West is going to play out here? I don't know what the overall discussion is here. We all love the Dodgers. Do we think the Giants are for real and can hold this, and do we think the Padres can keep this up with their pitching? Their pitching has been outstanding. I don't know where you guys want to start with the West.
I want to start, surprisingly, with the Colorado Rockies. I don't think people understand how bad the Rockies are right now. They're on pace for like 28 wins. I know if you win one game, it's going to change that drastically, but they're 4-23. That is awful. I mean, if you just go on betting odds, they're minus 360 to have the worst record in all of baseball. They're making the White Sox look like an all-star team compared to them. That's how bad they are right now, which is crazy because they have the pieces too. Offensively, you'd think they'd be able to score some runs at home, but they just struggle at home too.
Well, there was that thing, wasn't it? It was like, so who is it? The Dodgers, Giants, and Padres, and maybe even Diamondbacks, all were like sub-10 loss teams. And it's like, oh my God, the West is unbelievable. And it's like, and someone tweeted it out, and they're like, yeah, but like, it's not going to last because none of them have played each other yet, and they've all played the Rockies. So it's like all those 4 teams like just swept the Rockies, and the Rockies just had to like take a beating early in the season, and they might end up with like the worst record. Who knows? But like, it hasn't been a nice schedule for them so far either.
No, it's a good call out. Hey, I actually love that we're the Rockies are the worst team, and that's the one team we should be talking about because as bad we bullied as a community, baseball talkers, we bullied the White Sox last year, and the Rockies I feel like are not getting nearly as much, antagonizing from fans and media as they deserve. They definitely need to get better or do something. And we'll talk about the East real quick, just because, Rockies stink. Phillies, Nationals, Braves, they're all right there. And even the Marlins are right there. Are you guys anything big in the East? Obviously, the one thing I want to say, all the teams have losing records away. Is this a concern for the playoffs long term? I know it's only April, but something to call out.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. I look at the way, specifically the Mets, the way they're playing at home, away from home. I mean, they're not great. They're only 500, but 12-1 at Citi Field this year. I've only been to 3 games, but I mean, there's been a lot of opportunities for fans to go to these games, and it's been packed, and it's just been a great place to play. But I look at the Phillies as the team that we're going to be neck and neck with. We were saying this in the offseason too, just kind of talking about, I didn't expect Atlanta to get off to the start that they got off to, but I still see the Phillies and the Mets. I don't even know if the Braves make the playoffs. As much as we talk about them and they're a great team, but going back to the West, like, you're probably going to have 3 teams in the playoffs there. Whoever wins the division, and then Giants, Padres, or Dodgers, the other 2 teams, they're probably going to be wild cards. And then the Phillies or the Mets, one of those teams is going to be a wild card, whoever wins the division. And then the Braves kind of, I don't know if there's a spot. It's so early, but I don't know.
It is so early, but it is something to call out, right? Like a lot of times, at the end of the season, these teams are separated by a game or two, and you could point to earlier in the season where you weren't putting it all together with the roster you had, and shit happens. We'll talk about real quick. I'm not jumping to the injuries yet, but CJ Abrams was activated for Washington. I think this is a really, really good thing for them, especially the way that James Wood's been playing. So something to call out for Washington. And I'll quickly highlight the stadium. Have you guys been to the National Stadium?
I plan to go.
Okay. Hagen, Mikey, have either of you guys been?
I have not, no. Just what you were just telling me earlier.
Yeah, so we liked it. It was nothing super special, kind of warehousey, and in terms of the tunnels, but I did like it overall. Like, it wasn't the worst stadium I've seen, but all the strip of bars right in front of the main entrance, really cool. Especially this place called the Bullpen, big tailgate spot that's like designated obviously for the stadium. So good stuff for the Nationals. I wish we got to see more out of CJ Abrams when we saw him. I'm a big CJ Abrams fan. He is back and rolling. Let's jump to the American League, though. So I think that the most intriguing division is the West. And we talked about a little bit earlier about the Mariners. Possibly how many teams do we think are coming out of this division to win, to get into the playoffs? Hey, I want to start with you about the AL West.
Going into the season, I would have said 1, but I could see the argument for 2 here because I'm very high on Texas. I know they're a very boomer bust team where they could easily just falter and be a 500 team the rest of the season, or they could be a 90-win team. I put them as a playoff team, but if Seattle's offense can keep doing what they're doing, I mean, they're a top 10 offense in baseball right now. I know that the splits are pretty dramatic where they're killing the ball on the road, but at home they're typical Mariners. But it's not looking great with them, with Gilbert going down. Like even Mikey said earlier, short term, these games, the division's going to be so close at the end of the season, and I think there's going to be a lot of American League teams that miss the playoffs by 5 games per se. So I think every single game matters. So I don't know. I'd probably say 1 if I had to pick. If I had to pick, I'd say 1 team.
Okay. Let's jump to the AL Central. I think the big team to call out here is the Royals. Mikey, what are your thoughts on the Royals so far? They obviously they haven't been exactly where we thought they'd be. Cole Reagan's just left start the other day, and that had to do with groin tightness. So thank God it's not an arm or elbow or shoulder issue or something like that. Are you concerned about the Royals this season so far?
I don't think I'm worried about them. I just wasn't that high on them in the first place. Realistically, they're definitely underperforming, except for Michael Garcia. Shout out. Skipper who loves Michael Garcia. He's an absolute demon. Like, I guess you're kind of seeing, like, I don't want to call it true colors, but like maybe more of what this team really is compared to what they did last year. I was just never really a believer in that offense, and even like with the Brady Singer Jonathan India trade, it was kind of like I think it was great to get their leadoff man or whatever, but it was still like I looked at that lineup and see so many question marks, and it's kind of showing this year. And like Lugo had such a great year, Walker had such a great year. Reagan's I think is legit, but like those years repeating, and I don't remember what their record was last year, but like they got a wild card spot, and I think if I remember correctly, the Guardians had like a great year, like a win the division kind of record. So it's not like it was just a weak division and they were a wild card, but I don't know, like I don't never really thought that team was legit in the first place, even last year, like long term. So I think this is kind of more of like closer to what I actually think of them, and then they're just underperforming that a bit. Like they're
Yeah.
probably like maybe an 85-ish win team, but I don't think they're like a 90 win team. And obviously that matters a lot because that's the difference between making the wild card by a game or missing out by two.
And real quick, I do just want to add on that it's the worst offense statistically in baseball right now. In 29 games, they've only hit 13 home runs.
That's concerning.
That's very concerning. Jeez.
And finally, I'm not going to over talk about the AL East. Dan, I just want to hear your thoughts. How much trouble is Baltimore in? Obviously, they beat the Yankees today 4-3. The point is, they're 10-17. They're 6.5 games back. And it's not a ton of games, but you still have the Yankees. Boston's not even in full rhythm, and they're getting Lucas Giolito back from his injury this week. Tampa Bay, they're kind of a wild card depending on who you throw out there on the mound. And Toronto, they have pieces to put together victories in ball games. Are you concerned for Baltimore?
I am. Goes back to guys like Gunnar Henderson, who I expected. You're the cover of the show, right? That doesn't automatically mean you're going to be good, but there's coming off a 40 home run season, everything he did last year. I thought the momentum was going in the Orioles' direction, and put the internal family stuff aside, like I think the Orioles are in trouble. They're not winning series. They're dropped one to the Red Sox. They dropped one to the Royals. Dropped one to the D-backs as well. So I don't know what's going on with the Orioles. I really don't. And again, it's still so early to sit here and say, oh, they're not going to be a playoff team. But at this rate, I don't know if they'll be a playoff team. And Hagen said maybe one or two teams come out of the West. Going back to that for a second, maybe three teams come out of the West. If you have the Astros maybe get in, the Rangers boom or bust, the Mariners if they keep hitting, but also the Athletics. That's one of my sleeper teams. But overall, yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Orioles. The Red Sox are the team to worry about if you're the Yankees, though. So
I do want to say in the Orioles, can you throw those standings back up?
Yeah, give me 1 second. But keep talking.
Yeah, I'm also worried about them. Like I was a big advocate for them early in the year that they're gonna have Wells and Bradish. I love Bradish. I'm a big Bradish fan. They're gonna have those guys coming back like in the second half. But like Dan said, they're not winning series. Like they don't. They have a negative 39 run differential. Like they don't seem to like really even. I'm not paying attention to them, but they don't seem to really be competing for series either. The thing I do want to talk about is they've played. I don't think this is updated for their win against the Yankees today, right?
It might not be. I'll refresh it, but
Well,
yeah,
yeah. No, okay, sure, okay. They're
there it
11
is.
17. They're 11 17. They've played 28 games. If you look all the way to the right in the standings, they're 6 and 10 against teams over 500, and like that might seem really concerning to them on the surface, and it might be in its own right. But the part I want to point out is they've played 16 games against teams that are 500 or better out of 28. And that's kind of like, can we check the Rockies too? Because I brought up the point that like they played like all like
No,
yeah,
jeez.
they've played 18 of 27 games against like pretty much their division, and then like a few other teams that are really good. Like they're playing the Braves aren't even above 500, and they're playing them too. So like there's like that's just like kind of like a regression to the mean thing. Like hopefully when that like schedule starts to lighten up for them, they can kind of catch a sweep or at least win a series against like a lesser opponent and like kind of get into that groove. I don't know. It's just like the very few clips I've seen, they just look uncomfortable. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like as competitive as that Orioles team everyone thinks they should be. Like I'm with Dan. I am concerned. Like I really like what they have for the second half, but like you can't lose too many games in the first half to the point where you can't come back from that. And that's the part where I think most people would agree. Like that's what we're worried about. Is they're just losing too much right now to recover from.
No, all solid points. Quickly, a few injury updates. So Tony Gonsolin is eyeing his return for next week. So that's really, that is good news for the Dodgers. Tyler O'Neill is heading to the 10-day IL due to neck inflammation. Kumar Rocker is also heading to the IL with mild shoulder impingement. Willie Castro hit the 10-day IL with a strained right oblique for Minnesota. And the one last injury I want to call out, AJ Minter. He's obviously on the Mets. I think he's a really good pitcher. He went down mid-inning, so he exited with a left tricep tightness. Have you guys heard an update on Minter? Is he going to hit the IL, or is he just day-to-day for right now?
I think he already got put on it.
Okay, so I missed that. Is that a massive concern for the Mets, considering he's a pretty solid setup man? Obviously, Mets have been pitching really well, but AJ Minter is a part of that puzzle.
I mean, short term, I think it's a big concern just because you're losing a setup man, like you said, but more the issue with just the lefty, because after him, it's Danny Young, he can look filthy out there and make a lot of guys look stupid, but he's very hit or miss. He can have a lot of bad outings as well. So I think it's more just the lefty aspect of it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's concerning, but
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things for the Mets, the bullpen's been great collectively. I mean, that's been the real strength of this team. The offense puts up 19 runs today, but we forget about all the innings Kranick gave us and Reed Garrett. Hagen, that's your guy, but he's been great too. So sure, you might not have a lefty, but as long as we have the lefty in the playoffs, right? Raley and Minter, that's what I'm hoping for, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll finally jump to the Skipper's View War Draft. So Hagen I have to go through this on the episode today because Hagen took time to go through this for me. So quick standings update. As of earlier today, yours truly is still leading the pack with 7.6 cumulative team war thus far. You know what? I'll actually share the sheet so it's just easier for people to see. Give me 1 second. So Lewis having a really impressive 6.8. Dean's with the 6.2. The big thing I want to call out, and I hope he's listening, Jeff is not doing so hot in this league now. He actually regressed, I think, almost a full point of war since last week. So he went from like a 3-something to a 2.4. Obviously, he's missing Jackson Merrill. That's the big thing here. But Dan, we got to get you in this next year.
Definitely.
Yeah, assuming you know the basis of it, everyone just picked 10 guys. There's no updating your team at all. You just sit there and let it sit all season. It's great. Hagen thus far has done all the work on this, of updating. But yeah, fun stuff. And it's nice to be in first. I'll say that. But
Love that.
we'll finally jump.
You players, 10 players, OCs, because we're in a dynasty league and I never set my lineup, and that actually is probably way better for me. So just pick the 10 and don't even worry about it.
Exactly. And it sucks if you lose a guy for the year because it's like there's no replacing him. He's just done.
Yeah.
But Sam, yeah. And I think Ben took Ryan Bliss. And like there was a notification like last week, like Ryan Bliss is done for the year. It's like, what? He took him in the last round.
Oh, I thought Ben.
Grant took Profar. He's going to give him negative 0.2 wards. He's going to sit there the entire year.
That's crazy.
That is tragic, dude.
That is tragic.
No, Profile would be fine though, low key. Like he's only out for 80 games.
Yeah, only 80 games.
Well,
Yeah.
Hagen, you're top 5. Mikey, you're top 8. There's 15 people in this league, so you guys are both pretty much top half. Mikey, you're right there in the middle of it all. So
I'm chilling.
still very much open. Last year, Sam went off on us because we let him get Otani in like this. It was dumb. I don't know how we let him get Otani in like the 6th round. He was like, I forgot what was going on with the mindset of Otani. Like the injury was kind of lingering, but it's like, crap, he could still hit. And that's exactly what he did all year long. But I have a trivia question for you guys. Aaron Judge leads baseball with 43 hits, and I hope no one looked this up unless you guys already knew. Who is second? And bonus points if you guess how many hits they have right now.
Is it Bo Bichette?
It's not Bo Bichette.
That's a great guess.
Bryce Terang.
Bryce Terang is a great guess because I think he's top 5, but it's not Bryce Terang. And I
Going
can
to
get
this
one
week.
guess, then I'm going to give the answer. Are you looking up the answer?
No, I'm going through like the WAR spreadsheet to see who's doing good.
All right. Well,
I have no idea. Is it Tatis?
according to when I checked it earlier, it's actually Paul Goldschmidt with 38. So Judge's teammate is second in baseball right now with 38 hits. I don't know if that includes today, like the games that are wrapping up right now. But something I thought that was super impressive, I actually tweeted about it right before we hopped on the show today.
Steven Kwan.
My popping stat of the week, I mentioned, what were you saying,
Steven
Dan?
Kwan up there too. I was just looking. He's having a great year again.
I think he had 37. He's tied with like Tatis and Bryce Terang as well. Bryce Terang was a great guess because I was like, oh, when I saw him up there. And Brendan Donovan, who missed some games, is up there too. He's playing that well. One stat of the week, I said it earlier, but I didn't really highlight this. Eugenio Suarez had a 4 home run game in a loss this weekend. And this is the 19th time in MLB history there's been a 4 home run game. It's the first since 2017. There's been 24 perfect games in the history of baseball. Guys, how impressive is this from Eugenio Suarez? Anyone take that away?
Very impressive.
Yeah. It's one of the rarest things to do in this game, if not the rarest thing.
And Arizona needs this. It's crazy that they lost in this game, but again, I wanted to give him his kudos. And Hagen, I see you added a stat here.
Yeah, so I saw this just right before we hit record. So this was OptaStats put this out after the game today. So the Mets, in their first 29 games of the season, starting pitchers have allowed 4 or fewer runs. That's the longest streak for an NL team to start the season in the modern era, which started in 1901. So this is the easy way to put it. This is the best start for a pitching staff in National League history in the first 29 games. And I just kind of put that on there because it was crazy because the whole narrative this offseason was the Mets have no pitching. The Mets have awful starting pitching.
Clay Holmes is
I don't want to victory lap that, but like Mets starting pitching is the best in baseball right now.
No, you deserve it.
Jeremy, it's a pitching staff thing. It's not just a David Stearns thing. Jeremy Hefner, Desi Drusel, all the other guys that I'm like not even like giving the proper credit to that have made this happen. Like they all collaborate and figure out who they want to go. It's not just like David Stearns baseball genius meme. It's the coaching staff.
It's fun to just say David Stearns though.
Yeah, it's hilarious, but some people think that's it. We gotta give the coaches their credit and the Marlins coaching staff because Jeb and Hagen said they wouldn't even win 62 games, and they're at 12 already. I'm victory lapping on my 2020.
Talk to me in June. Talk to me in June.
Yeah, we're not
in June. They've got 36 wins, and they'll still freaking make it. Didn't Jeb Bittman have the worst record?
No, that was me. I've already marked that one up as Cook.
Last thing. I went to 2 baseball games this week, so I got to see the AAA Indianapolis Indians. I always buy balls whenever I go to the stadiums. I always buy a new ball and add it to the collection. So I bought this one this week, little American flag ball. I bought this one of the International League with like every team's logo on this. I thought this was sick.
Dope.
From the minor leagues. I thought this one was like a breast cancer awareness one. I thought that was cool to add. I don't have a pink baseball. And finally, as you guys know, Dean and I went out to the Nationals Park. I always buy one basic team logo ball if I can. But yeah, that's the memorabilia that I bought this week. Wasted some of my money on, but I love it, so I don't care. Thank you all for listening. This was great. Follow us on social media. We do have merchandise, believe it or not. We don't push it enough. We're going to start. I think we got Hagen. We got to talk. Me, you, and Dean.
Yeah.
Didn't know Hagen's parents run an embroidery shop. We do got to talk about that. And then, read our articles that are posted this week. Find Dan, Hagen, OC on X. Find them on the Skippers Review website. They post all their blogs there. Dan, Hagen, and OC always providing some of the best content out there. Anything else you guys want to highlight before we hop off here? Going on
Dan's
baseball that I
Spaces.
missed?
Shout out Dan's Spaces. Dan's an absolute grinder with the spaces. He's running all the time, 24/7. The subway, secretly when he's in class, like just when he's chilling. Dan's
that's how I
Spaces.
met both. That's how I met both of you two.
Yeah, likewise, honestly.
Reed Garrett enthusiasts, man.
Yeah, they're
man.
explosive sometimes too.
Love it.
Dude, that before we close out, that one podcast where that guy was going on one of your spaces, Dan, where he's going nuts on Hagen about Jason Dominguez's defense versus Mark Vientos, and Vientos has remember that? It was nuts.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Hagen
I got
was
that
right
one
in
going.
the end. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah.
I don't bring it up because I'm the Mets, but Vientos hasn't done good this year.
He's got some holes.
He's heating up though.
Hey,
Nothing a little like Flex Shield can't fix.
yeah. All right. Well, hey, thank you all for listening.
We'll do this soon.
Bye.
Let's go, guys.